This is a good standing letter.
Yeah.
This is the first attack. It's just like, this is make you 100 heir. You want to be 100 heir? You're dealing with this. You're in good standing. They see that your company is good standing. They base you that hundreds and thousands, 300,000 based off this. But when you want to go in and get 500,000 million, then they're going to deal with this. This is where you're going to go in and make your company valuable. That's when here, these are articles. This says in the articles, it says that we have this in the articles, it says this is who we are, what we do, and we'll abide by all the laws that are applicable. Right. But guess what? There's also something here called shares. When you buy it first, the corp is zero par value. It has no value. Look in there and see how many shares you have. And when you got 10,000 shares, this is a license almost to print money. Wow. But nobody sees that.
No, they don't.
So nobody teaches them. So they go in, they say, oh, I got 10,000 shares. Your shares are zero par value. You got to make them valuable because Bezos is worth $100 billion. He ain't worth that. His company is worth that, the value. Oprah, she got $6 billion. She don't have $6 billion on her mattress. It won't fit. Right? It's what her company owned, and Harpo, that's what her company is worth. The shares are worth. So let's substitute shares for the word assets.
Right.
So if you took that beautiful diamond necklace and all that you got and put them inside your corp, that would give your corp more value. Right. So we use the fake money, the 200,000 in credit cards and whatnot, buy real things like that or like property. That's why they call it real estate, because it's real. That's why you call it real property. Right. Under the Constitution, your real property, it didn't say your dollars, it says your real property is protected. You can defend that. Right? So you can't defend paper money. So they call it real property. You take the real property with the fake money, buy real property, put it in here, makes your shares have value. Now that you have value in your shares, now you can go in and give those shares to like investors who want to say, I like your company. Because rich folks, a lot of them are lazy. They don't want to work, non-performance income. They want to just come in and say, I got $1 billion. Take this money, invest it. That's what the dude on Shark Tank does. His name is Kevin O'Leary. He has $10.1 billion under management. He's managing somebody else's money. That's the game. That is the game. We ain't taught that game.
No, we not.
Right? So the next level, build a fund. He's doing a fund. What about the guy named Robert F. Smith, the brother?
Yeah.
$250 billion under management.
Wow.
He just managed a technology fund. He said, give me some money. So the real game is, can you just give me some money at a high level? Give me some money.
So how would I be, like, for instance, if I was trying to do, how would I be able to get to that point for somebody that's watching? Like, I get like, let's say if I get I set up everything, my corp, because there's a lot of people that's just at the, cleaning the credit level and getting funding level. And this is another level right here.
There is a company that's called The Boutique. A lot of people may have seen that movie called The Boiler Room.
Yeah.
And after that was Wall Street. And after that was The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
Gordon, who lives in LA, right?
Yeah.
Right? These are real people. This is real stuff. The Boiler Room, they have them in Costa Rica, they have them in Mexico, they have them in New York, they have them in LA, right? Richard Gasby is the one they made the movie about in San Diego.
Mm.
So guess what? There's a company that's called a boutique now. They don't call them boiler rooms anymore. They call them boutiques because that movie gave it a bad name. But what do? They take your company and they take your share, your stock certificates that I'm going to show you right here. This is a stock certificate.
A stock certificate.
This comes for $125. You buy this book on Amazon called A Corporate Kit.
A corporate kit.
This is a stock. It comes with these things called a stock certificate. This is your millions. You take this and you give it to a boutique. You know what they do?
What?
They have something called a Lehman's Agreement. Say on your right-hand side, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your left-hand side, you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If they raise the money for you.
Wow. So they raise the money for you.
They get the money for you. So we out here talking about Section 8. We out here talking about, man, get 120, get 25,000 from Chase. That's game. Right. These people go in, if they raise you one, this is called a Lehman's Agreement.
Right.
There are many agreements. I'm just saying this one. If they raise you $5 million, if they raise you $1 million, they get 5%. If they raise you $2 million, they get 4%. 3 million, 3%. Right. Anything over $4 million that they raise you is 1%. They raise you $1 billion, they get 1%. Damn. So you don't even have to work. You just raise the money. Now, Obama went in and said, you don't need a broker dealer. That's called the Jobs Act. He said you could take this and you could open up a place in the Philippines and have a call center of your own and have them just call people saying, hey, would you like me to, I'd like to send over some information on my company. Would you like to invest? So you got guppies, whales, and institutional investors. So a guppy, he's like a doctor. He'll get like $100,000 to 100,000 to $1 million.
Right.
A whale will give you like 10 million, 100 million. An institutional investor like Sony, they'll give you $1 billion based on a 504 Regulation D, and you can look this up. A 504 Reg D under the SEC is a paper that they give you and say, okay, we allow you to go and raise that money. With a 504, you can raise up to $10 million. So that's what I say you should do first. Right. Then once you have a successful raise, right, then you can do a 506. That's unlimited. You can raise unlimited money. So all you really saying is, can you give Willie some money? Not me. Can you give Willie some money? That's the game.
Right. You prefer a C Corp or a S Corp?
A C Corp is definitely C. See, they don't teach us this. So an LLC means limited liability.
Right.
Limited liability. So why would you go out and go to the bank talking about I'm limited? They ain't gonna lend you no money.
Right.
You go get basic. You go to somebody, you go to a lady or a guy, whatever your thing is, you know what I'm saying? And you say, hey, we've been talking for a while. Maybe you should exchange numbers. You know, we got a lot of energy, a lot of synergy. Okay. Or, okay, whatever. Right. And you say, okay, she pull out a number or whatever. And you say, but I want to be straight with you. I'm a straight up guy. Say, what's that? He says, I'm limited.
I'm limited. Right, yeah.
I'm limited. Right. And you know what else?
You're right.
Say, what's that? I got liability. Say, what, you got an ankle bracelet on, but the police after you? What you mean? Your baby mama, You know what she gonna say? I forgot I left a pot on the stove. I gotta go.
Right.
Well, babe, what about that number? I'll see you around. She get in the car with your limited self. Bye. Yeah. That's what the bank gonna say to you. I know. I used to teach some of these guys.
Damn.
So now everybody's saying at least they smart enough to know to not do it on their own, they self, because you are the 85%. You're not a part of the game. You're a person. They own you as a corporation, right? There's two United States of America. There's the United States in America, the area of America, North America, and then there's the United States of America. That's Washington, D.C. And that's a corporation out of Delaware because they don't want to have liability. So they're smart when they made this whole thing up. So that's private and public. What most of us dealing with is the public side of understanding. We think we got to work. But this thing here is a C corporation. See, an LLC is limited. That's for protection, limited liability.
Right.
So banks don't like lending. They give you a little bit of money. 100,000, 200, what? Okay, that's baby. But they're not going to give you that big money, and you're limited. You can't go to the top, like I just explained.
Yeah.
You can't go in and use those stock certificates and raise millions.
Right.
So a C Corp, not an S Corp. A S Corp is for investors. The investors say, hey, yeah, I want to invest in your company, but I don't want to be a part of your company, the capital gains. I just want to invest. Say, that's what I got. I got an S Corp. So if you don't have investors, why you got an S Corp? Why you got S Corps? We're not taught. But Superman, Superwoman is the C Corp. They call it a Mama Corp because it's shaped, Mama C, right? Yeah. So you put everything, you take the Mama, this is purposely made to get money. Nobody never teaches us, but this is called a special purpose entity. It's a person, an entity, corpse, body, dead thing. You raise it up, you smell, touch, hear, and feel for it. You don't have a conscience. So you come in, I'm just an officer. Like United States is a corporation, says, you bomb that place over there, you're going to jail. The president says, I didn't do that. United States of America did that. Well, since they own you, when you're born, you're a citizen. They make you a citizen, they make you a corporation. And now they take money and put bonds on you. United States bonds, put a lot of money in one of your accounts, 12 Federal Reserve banks. Just turn over your social and see where your money is. That's your corporate number on the back. So now you go in, I think Atlanta is like, C is Atlanta.
Yeah.
So all your money is in Atlanta. So you got 12 of them, depending on where you live. So now they hold your money, and then they use those bonds to borrow from the Federal Reserve Bank. They borrow their money based on you working. So all federal money goes in to pay the United States debt, all federal money, all federal tax. So since they own you as a corp, they're not going to give you as much as they give a corp because it's a separate thing. So you need to own your own corp so you could be the same thing as the president.
Right. So how do you build up a corp, like a C Corp? Like if a person was starting from scratch, is it better to buy age? Or is it just better to,
Well, it's a good question. So basically, banks don't like rookies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't like risky, and they don't like rookies. So you walk in the bank talking about, I want to borrow, some money. They're going to say, first thing they're going to say is 2 questions. Age, how old are you? If you walk in there with a brand new LLC, you double hit. You ain't getting nothing, right?
Yeah.
First of all, you got an LLC, you're limited, and I got liability. They're like, oh, nice, thanks for telling us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Get out of here, right? And the second thing is, I'm brand new, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you got the wrong SIC code. A SIC code is a SIC code. A SIC code is an identifier for the bank that says we lend to them, we don't lend to them, or we give them a little bit of money. So they don't like risky things. So you walk in talking about, I'm ABC Trucking. We name ourselves things that banks don't like. Right. So the bank said, we don't lend to trucking. Trucking is risky, dangerous. Or we real estate, they don't lend to real estate. Unless you did 6 of them in a business. Now they'll start considering doing business with you.
Right.
So that's why you go through, hard money lenders in the beginning. But then they don't lend to doctors. Man, that's risky. That's why doctors are LLCs or limited liability partnerships. An LLC is not a corporation. That's a limited liability company. They don't have shareholders, but you want to use them shares to rise up. Right. So what's the use of that? You ain't going nowhere, right? So now the corporation is a person. So everything you have, they say, first of all, let's back up. If you go in and you say, I'm less than 3 years old, 2.5 tax years, they're going to say, you're a baby. Come back when you got some experience. 2 things they're going to ask you about that's very important in borrowing and lending. How old are you? Do you have age? Do you have experience? And the next thing is what's your story? Because the corporation is not there to do business. Most people think I got to do business and work and work and work. We get money to do business. We don't do business to get money.
Right.
That's what they don't understand. You got to work and work. I got to do marketing. I got to do car sales. I got to do, what you doing? I'm selling cars. What's it take to sell cars? I got to get my cars. I'm saving up for that. I got 5 cars now. Maybe in 5 years, I'll sell enough cars to get my own bigger dealership. Really? That's rookies. You go in and say, I would like for you to give me some money, not me, Willie Corporation. They say, okay. Is Willie built right? Is Willie a baby? No. So that's why you're going to get an age corporation.
Yeah.
Why you going to walk around, walking the bank, talking about I'm a baby? They're going to give you baby money.
Exactly.
Even if you go to the government to do like a government contract, which everybody should do, get some of that government money, like sign up for sam.gov and don't be a minority. Now you're going to get the best deals, right? Which, there may be some laws put in now that's saying everybody's everybody. But still, the government contracts is 10 times more than the regular contracts. So you walk in, sign up sam.gov, they're going to ask you, how old are you? How old is your company? If you say I'm brand new, and smaller contracts. So you should have age and no matter what. So why would you wait around? They want at least 2 tax years, the bank.
Right.
Or any investor. A tax year is January to April, January to April. So from January to April, that's 2 years. That's 1 year, 8 months, 1 year, 4 months, 1 year, 4 months, that's 2 years, 8 months. So that's you might as well round it up to 3 years.
Right.
So never go in under 3 years and never go over when you buy Age Corp over than 8 or 9 years. Why? Because the bank is going to say, wait a minute, just like dog age, a corp is like dog age. So if you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, you're like 65, 75 years old.
Right.
So you're telling the bank, I don't have no documentation and I'm 65 years old?
Right.
I ain't got no cars, I got no credits, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no 4506Ts. That's taxes. I don't have no financials. And by the way, when you're funding, you can use stated financials. You don't have to have, and they help. This is a part of your leveraging, right? And your bond and your insurance on the bond. This is a part of your leveraging, your proof of funds that you can buy, right?
So your proof of funds that you can buy?
Of course. Just go online and look up proof of funds. If somebody put you on their bank account, you pay them a little bit. That's not illegal.
Wow.
And now you go on the bank, go check and say, oh, this dude got $10 million. You on a bank account with $10 million.
All right. Makes sense.
But that's especially like when you're doing real estate. So that helps with that.
Oh, okay.
Because, I manage $20.2 billion under management.
Wow.
Market traded notes. That's a whole nother world. So you want to make $1 at a 15-cent note. Because the bank has to get rid of the notes. They can't do 9 times of what they lent you. If they lend you $1, they now have 9 times that on their books. So, but the law, the rules under GAAP says you cannot do that if you have too many toxic loans on your books. So they say, we got to get that off. It's to stop keeping us from doing a lot of money here. So they will sell that to you, credit card debt, 3 cents on the dollar.
Damn.
So you go and spend for $300, you get $1 million worth of debt from the bank or a debt broker. Go look out online and just look up debt broker. So you go buy the debt, you buy the note. Anything is a note, right? The dollar's a note. It's a loan.
Yeah.
Right? Any loan, you have a note, a car note, house note.
Right.
So when you do that, now you own the debt that people are not paying. But now they're not performing, so they only worth 3 cents. But if you go in and make it performing, now guess what? Now it's worth the full value. So I could go in, I could say, you know what? I own your debt. You know what, band man, I own your debt.
Yeah.
You got $300, I got $500,000. They're gonna lend me 75% of $500,000.
Damn.
Right now. And then what I'm gonna do with that? I'm gonna go buy more debt. And I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
So overnight, I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire. And then once I do that, I'm gonna go to the next level and I'm gonna buy house debt. I'm gonna buy the note. I'm gonna be the bank. So if I go in and I say, I'm gonna buy, but so you gotta have good money to do that.
Yeah.
That's why you step it up. So now I'm gonna go buy more debt, the bank. So if I go in and I say, I'm gonna buy much, that costs you maybe about 100 million. But you go in, you buying it for 30 cents on the dollar. You go in and buy the debt from the bank. Once I get rid of 75% of it, I can say, listen, you flippers out there, y'all looking for inventory, right? Yeah, we need inventory. I'm giving you this house for 75 cents on the dollar. They're going to kick your door down, give you a firstborn.
All right.
But you guess what? You paid 30 cents on the dollar for it. So you made 10, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. You just made 45 cents on the dollar right back to you. Now you times that by 16 homes at $500,000. It may seem a little technical, but once you start doing it, let's do one house. Let's do, if they bought those houses, you paid off the debt, you still got 25 houses to yourself, free and clear.
Damn.
So now you take one house at 500,000, you own it. Most people gonna sell it for 500,000. They're like, I only paid, 40 cents, 30 cents on the dollar, I only paid, 30, 60, 90, 100, 10, 20, $120,000 for a house worth 500,000.
Right.
But most people say, oh man, I'm selling that. I'm a banker. It's the numbers game. So you say, you want to buy the house? I'll give you a 30-year mortgage. So you're going to wind up paying me $2 million in 30 years, compound interest.
Right.
So why would I sell it? So I keep it and I say, I have a note. Remember the note?
Yeah.
I got a note for 30 years, a 30-year note. They're going to say, sweet, so I don't have to go get a loan. No, I'm the bank. So now you go in and now you own the house. You get a house to them for 30-year mortgage. That's what the bank does. If they make 6 months or 8 months payments on that house straight, that's performing note. Now you go to the bank and say, I got $2 million that I'm gonna get from them in 30 years. I got a 30-year note. It's valued at 500,000, plus the house itself has what, $300,000 equity? The bank is gonna flip its lid like, ooh, you speak Latin.
Right.
Somebody done taught you Latin.
Yeah.
See, because it's private and public. I'm teaching private right now.
Damn. Yeah.
So now you could go to the bank and say, I want to borrow 75% of this $2 million because they've been paying on time for 8 months. It's performing debt. I want to borrow 75% of that. They're going to say, when would you like it? Now, that means you're going to borrow 1.5 million off a house that's worth 500,000. You're going to borrow 1.5 million times 25.
Right. Now I get it. Yeah.
Now what you going to do, you're going to take that and buy more notes.
Damn.
You pushing $1 billion, brother, in 2-3 years.
No, for sure.
Why you think the bank is so rich? It's just paper. We got to learn how to move paper. Paper. All this business that we doing. We need to be sitting on the beach talking about, I want to buy, what kind of paper you got? You got certain mortgage debt? Okay, I want to buy, give me, 500 million of that. Okay, 500 million?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get 500 million. The more debt you buy, the cheaper it gets. So you be buying houses out in California that's worth $1 million, but the bank got to get rid of it. You buying that for like 40 cents on the dollar because they got to get rid of it. The people are not paying. The bank cannot make that money if they have that debt that's not paying. That's called non-performing debt.
Right.
So first of all, notes That's where the money is. I manage $20.2 billion under management, market traded notes, non-performing notes.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I can do it, anybody can do it. They just have to know how to do it. So back to your question, that's just one way of making that money.